The point is, I want black folks to understand other groups are allowed to be classified as white at certain times. Sit on that for 3 seconds.
We live here. We work here. We will be counted here. Our presence is power.
Monona Police.
Oh, hi. I want to report a suspicious activity.
Okay, and where is it happening?
Okay, I live on, and I was pulling out of the driveway to go home. And my neighbor's house is the 5111, and she passed away. The house is empty, and now there is the African American with sweatpants, flip-flop, and a white shirt sitting on the front door.
Okay, and what's the street? I got the address.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got nervous. Oh, Arrowhead Drive.
Okay, on Arrowhead, perfect. So you said this person is by 5111 at the neighbor's and she's recently passed away.
Yes, the house is empty.
Okay. And where did you see this person at?
Oh, I was pulling out of the driveway to go home, and I saw him sitting on the step at the front door.
Okay, so just sitting on the step by the front door.
Yes, it's close to the front door, yes.
Sure. Okay. All right. We will have an officer go over there and check him out.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
33. New York. Instead of Frenchland check person, do you want to head over to, there's a resident advising she saw someone sitting on the front steps. Caller thinks this is suspicious because the house may be vacant.
Copy. Did you clear the Frenchland one then?
Negative, I'll just reassign you.
The owner's died, so it should be vacant, but he's in the back. I can't even talk. Do you want one of us to go have some people? Let me switch over. What's going on? I announced and he started talking to himself. So, 22 would make any pictures from the front. Ready? Show ready in a second. Ready?
Police department, come out with your hands up. Come out with your hands up.
Okay.
Keep walking.
Sir, this is me.
Okay.
Okay. Come on out here. You don't live here. My coach's house, Coach Rondo.
Okay.
You let me and Torrance stay here. You can call him and ask him.
Okay. Go ahead and just, for right now, just turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Is it Keontae? Yes, it's Keontae.
Okay. Put your hands behind your back for a second. We're just going to detain you.
Why am I being detained, though?
Because you don't live here, and the person that lived here passed away. So.
Yeah. Okay. Can you guys call Coach Rondo?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
We'll deal with that. So nobody else is here, Keontae?
No, Torrance gone. Can you loosen the cuffs up for real?
Yep, hold on a second.
Because my wrist is a little broken.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is the reason why you're here. Someone called because they...
I know, because I'm a black man and it's that lady right there, even though she waved at me.
That wasn't who...
It's because the person that lived here is passed.
Okay.
Right. And they're concerned that it got broken into or something, so... So we'll... Do you have a phone with his number in it that we can call him?
I do.
Mark?
Mark
Ronald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Ronald? Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah. Lady across the street just said that you were living here for like 2 months or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, someone else...
She wasn't the one that called.
Yeah, another neighbor called, said it should not
I know
be.
who he is anyway. You can.
Yeah. Okay, so turn around. I'm going to take him off for you quick. And we'll go grab your phone and get on the phone with Mark, okay?
I'll give him a call.
Oh, you got his number?
Get it.
All right. Yeah, so neighbor called, a different neighbor, not her, and said that nobody should be in this house.
You still working, Keontae?
Yeah.
It's a good job over there. What shift are you?
First, I'm on vacation. We just started back up. I took from vacation time.
Oh, they got they guys have you laid off too for a while for this stuff or what? Do you have his info or?
I got it from the school records, but you should just grab it.
Do you have ID on you by chance or no?
My wallet's in the room.
You want to go grab it quick and come back out? Yeah, mom and dad. And then I asked if it was up for sale, but he's like, no, they're holding on to it. So he's a coach.
Coach
Mark?
Rundle, yeah. Mark, he's like the offensive line coach or something for varsity.
Let me take a picture of those. Hold on.
That ain't right, man.
Hey! I put it yesterday. You put that there yesterday? Yeah, I put it. That's not a good joke to make, man. I'll play with one guy. That's not a good joke to make.
There's a time and a place for dancing and entertaining, but it's not in the middle of a war. It's not in the middle of a war when people are hanging nooses all around us. And the noose is not just some loop. It means kill black people. And this president and this administration, see, this is why it is important to read the newspapers. In the newspaper, in the New York Times back in June, it said this administration and the Justice Department has decided that they are no longer going to focus on racism as a priority. They are just going to focus on religious discrimination, and that the various states could take care of racism the way they wanted. So Louisiana stepped up. Do you understand? If there is no federal protection, which is what black people fought for decades, and they decide, no, we're going to set that aside. Well, that just said, do to black people what you want to do to black people. We're not going to bother you. So the nooses showed up not only on jobs, not only in Jena, Louisiana, but on university and college campuses, on the door of a black female college professor at Columbia Teachers College in New York City. Do you see? But they're hanging everywhere. See, and I say that it's so important for us to think and analyze and think, because they kind of gave us a 1-2 punch. They had people thinking it doesn't matter to call yourselves niggers. Oh, that's okay. Those are terms of endearment. And then let that music go into, because white young people were buying more of it than black people ever could. And so by the time we had exhausted ourselves with calling ourselves niggers and dogs, then they started hanging nooses, having trained us to demean and to degrade ourselves as though we had no value. And then they said, right, and we agree you have no value. So we're going to give the sign that it's okay to kill you.
A month after deputies killed Dijon Kizzee, his family and their attorney held a news conference today saying the deputies used excessive force during his arrest. NBC4's Ted Chen joins us live now with more on this. Ted?
Chuck, attorneys for Dijon Kizzee's family gave out this diagram today from what they say is an independent autopsy on Kazee that was performed that showed that he was shot or shot at 15 times while he was on the ground. And that to them and to activists and to Dijon Kazee's family shows the shooting was unjustified.
All I want is justice for my nephew. He didn't have to be killed like that. He's no animal. He's human-like.
Tearful members of Dijon Kazee's family surrounded attorneys and activists as they connected Kazee's shooting death to the other fatal shootings of black Americans across the country. Attorney Benjamin Crump represents Kazee's family as well as the families of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. He says their deaths are all examples of police brutality and systemic racism.
We have a problem here, good people. There's a scourge that patrols the county of Los Angeles. There's a gang problem, right? But the gang wears khaki and green and also patrols our neighborhoods.
The sheriff's department says Kazee picked up a loaded gun that had fallen to the ground and pointed it at deputies, and that is what prompted deputies to fatally shoot him in late August. It is not clear from surveillance video if Kazee was indeed reaching for something or if he had fallen during a struggle with deputies. The video shows him struggling with deputies and swinging his arms at them. The sheriff's department acknowledges 19 shots were fired and Kazee was struck in the chest, arms, and back. The county's autopsy report has not been finalized, but attorneys for Kazee's family says their independent report tells them the force was excessive.
Over 8 hours of footage has been released by the Providence Police Department, showing what happened in July when cops detained 3 teenage suspects. Several of the 41 videos now available for public viewing shows Officer Domingo Diaz allegedly punching an already restrained juvenile until he is pulled away by a fellow officer. Moans and crying can be heard on the video. After he is moved, Diaz walks back. Officer Domingo Diaz allegedly punching an already restrained juvenile until he is pulled away by a fellow officer. Moans and crying can be heard on the video. After he is moved, Diaz walks back. Police confirm one of the suspects was taken to the hospital that night. The crowd that gathered around the arrest scene is heard asking the Providence police to stop. Though dozens of cops are seen in the video, 2 police officers, Domingo Diaz and Mitchell Voyer, have been suspended with pay, pending an investigation into their use of force during the arrest.
Other groups are allowed to be classified as white at certain times. Sit on that for 3 seconds. Black people, we're the only group that's not allowed to be classified as white. Let's be clear. Hispanics, all that brown shit you talking, y'all love talking about that black and brown. Hispanics are allowed to be classified as white, and then when they whiten up and look white enough, they get brought into the royal family. Asians are allowed to be classified as white in certain instances. Middle Eastern people are allowed to be classified as white. Y'all better understand how this white supremacy thing works. White supremacy is not based on their genetics. It's based on our genetics, because if you're too black, you can't be a part of the royalist club. And we have to understand this is black people. We are the measurement as to how these other groups are going to be treated. We have been designated to be mistreated into perpetuity.
No, I'm not saying to you, and don't misunderstand me, I am not saying that the business of black, brown, red, and yellow people is to hate white people. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the business of black, brown, red, and yellow people, and what must be a priority concern, is to understand why did people who classify themselves as white and classify all others as non-white, why they would move to dominate the world and cause impoverishment to all of the people who were classified as non-white. So I also said, well, gee, now that I understand that, the fear of genetic annihilation, that who would the system, this global system of racism, white supremacy, who would be the one group that would have to be attacked to make absolutely certain there was white genetic survival? That the attack would have to center on the black man, non-white people in general, male and female, but the attack would have to center on black men above all other non-white men.
But I just want us to understand and get into the mindset of understanding that other groups, they want that white pass too. And see, that's what happens with other groups. Other groups get the carrot of whiteness dangled in front of their faces. I want black people to understand this. This is why there can never be a true minority coalition, because we're the only so-called minority group that is not treated like the other ones.